Hi everyone, Marguerite here. Today I want to show you how I made this card. This is an ATC times 4 card. First of all, let me explain a little bit what it is. It is a card, solid card, and it measures 5 inches across and 7 inches tall. And if you exactly cut it in the middle, and you make 4 quadrants, these sizes are the same size of a standard ATC, which is 2.5 by 3.5 inches. People like to exchange ATCs, and I am doing an art exchange right now. It's open until August 15th, where we're making these cards, ATCs times 4, and we are exchanging them. In addition to the art exchange, these cards are super fun to make and create mail art for other people who are interested in collage art and just exchanging them with other artsy friends. These are really fun to make. I have a couple of examples of other ones. Very quickly, I'll just show you. I did this one just recently. And I did this one just recently. What's neat about them is that there's 4 cards, and the recipient can decide if they want to keep it together in one piece or to cut it down and have them as 4 individual ATCs. So obviously there's a theme, and then the theme is shared across all four ATCs. Okay. So this one I made with a tear sheet of bugs and some postage stamps from India. I have here some map and a piece of graph paper. Looks like this. Graph paper that I kind of put in here. And then I also used a bank note, a check, an old check. I'm going to use this one today. And some rubber stamping. I have my very often used rubber stamp, right? So that is what I'm going to show you how to make today. To begin, I'm going to use a piece of cardboard from a cereal box. Okay, and on the very bottom, let me pull it a little bit closer. On the very bottom the first layer is a piece of text, just a piece of book page that I had and covered the entire substrate at the very bottom. This time I'm going to use this dictionary page. I'm going to experiment using this Japanese dictionary page and see what I can do. So normally I would use matte medium with a paintbrush and just kind of put it down that way, but today I'm feeling a little bit lazy and I'm just going to use a glue stick. So that's what I'm going to do. So to put down the first layer, I'm just going to put a lot of glue stick on here. Usually I like to do it in halves, and I'm not going to glue it on this side. I want this side to be blank because I'm going to write my name and the date, maybe where I come from, the city where I come from. So instead I'm going to glue on the side that I want to cover up. So I usually start with half so that I have the ability to move the paper around if I need to. What's nice about glue stick is that you can push it around a little bit. That's what I'm going to do here. Okay, and then I'll just put glue on the second half. I don't have a brayer. Some people use a brayer to roll it down, but I find it sufficient to just push it down with my hand. The glue I'm using today is Scholastic glue. I found this at Office Depot and I like it a lot. I pretty much use whatever glue I can find. I don't have a preference for glues, so this one I found it on sale and got it, and I'm happy with it. So I don't have my scissors with me, so I'm just gonna fold this down at the moment. Hopefully I don't need scissors. I will cut that off a little bit later. Now, one of the first things that I want to do is mark my lines so that I know where everything is going to go. Well, not that I know where they're going to go, but I have a general idea when it's marked. So let me mark the halfway points here. 2.5. And then 3.5. What's next? I have rubber stamping. I stamped it once in the middle, and then I stamped it 4 times in each corner, right? And the one that I stamped in the middle, I stamped it early, and the ones on the ends I stamped at the very end. So when did I put this middle one down? Let's see. I put it down after the green graph paper, but before the map. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to get my pieces of graph paper. And the reason why I'm using this paper is I want something that's neutral but a little bit busy, and this is also busy. This background is very busy, this paper, but it's going to complement this, and it's just going to add a tiny bit of contrast, and that's what I'm looking for. So here I'm just tearing this piece, and I'm going to put it here. What's interesting about this is the green line is a tiny bit heavier in some spots. So I think I'm going to match that green line right to the black line and make it fit in even more. Okay, so there's that. Then I have this, no, over here maybe. Yeah, that'll do. That's fine. And then a few pieces more. So I will take some of this and put it over here. And this little one will go down here, like that. All right, let me glue that really fast. All right, next I am going to put down that rubber stamping right in the middle. What I like about this rubber stamp is that it's big, and the lines are very fine. They're not big and chunky. Now, this one is much heavier, and I could have done something like this, but if I put this one down, my worry was that it would be very heavy and it would draw too much attention to itself. I wanted this one to kind of just blend in. I just want to keep on putting in these layers of interest, but not have them stand out too much. Why? Because I want certain things to have the spotlight. Let me show this to you again. I want certain things to have the spotlight. I want the bugs to have a spotlight. I want the stamps to have a spotlight, and I want this bank title to have prominence, right? So if this was super dark in the background, it would be too much of a distraction. So that's why I've chosen something like this. This seems like it's big and bold and so on, but the lines are super fine on here, and that's why I like using it. Here's another one. I like using this one as well. These lines are also very fine. So this would have been also a good stamp to use. I don't have too many other big ones that are in such fine detail as this round one, so that's why I use it so much. Okay, so this is down now. Next, I am going to add a little bit of map. And where is my map piece? Oh, here. I like how I used, there's water and there's land on here. The combination of those two things. And I have this piece of map, which also has land and water, and I like that. So I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to tear again, which is probably my favorite technique. I really don't use scissors too often. I just like the randomness of a torn piece of paper. So I don't need to do it exact, but I like how this placement is, so I'm going to follow suit with something similar. So you see that I am copying myself. I did one thing and I'm copying it, doing it again. It's fine for you to copy, I think, because you're going to be using your own papers that are different than somebody else's, and therefore how your piece of art turns out is going to be entirely different from how somebody else's art turned out. So that's why it's okay to copy. And then in the meanwhile, you make small changes. Like, for example, I'm using this background page, which is completely different from this background page. So it's going to look different, right? That's why it's okay to copy. So don't feel self-conscious or worried about that the look and feel of your art is very similar to someone else's. It's always going to be different. Okay, so I was here. Let's take this and put it like that. And this little guy I'll put over here. This one goes up here. And then a very small piece over here. All right, so let me get these glued down. Okay, next are the bugs. So I have this tear sheet. This is something that I created digitally just with layers of herbs, herb plants, and then some bugs. And I've got it on my shop. You can find it if you're interested in it. And I'm just going to tear out bugs. Okay, So here are my bugs. You can use scissors if you would like to fussy cut, that's fine. I am just tearing it out, and it doesn't matter if some of the legs are cut off just a bit. If they're too big, just cut them down or tear out what you want. These pieces are pretty versatile. Before I glue those down, I also want to take my piece of bank check and figure out how I'm going to put that down. So the places or the pieces of interest I have are this, the date, this up here, number, down here, City National Bank. The signature is also interesting. I won't be able to put all of that down, but for sure I want this and I want this. So let's start with that. Okay, here we go with the rubber stamping. This time, well, before I used black, and now I'm going to use green. All right. Now, can you see this clearly? There's a lot of detail with that rubber stamping, but it doesn't add too much. Okay, so now the last thing I have are postage stamps. So these are the colors that I have. These are all Indian postage stamps. So I like this blue. And I like the red. The red goes well with this guy because there's just the little bit, that little hint of red on his casing there. And this brown goes nicely with this guy. And I could do, well, I wanted the blue a little bit farther from this one. So this last one, I can do gray, or let's see my choices. Gray, that looks very good. Or the other option is green. Or another choice is purple. No, I think the first one was the best. This one, gray. Okay, so let me glue those down. Okay, now the very last touches. Is there anything else? Do I want to add anything else, or am I done? The last thing I would like to do is a little bit of shading just around the edges with a little bit of black ink, just to kind of make a border and to bring the eye towards the center. And it'll show up really nicely with this light paper in the background. Another thing that you can do, if these postage stamps are standing out too much in your opinion, you can take a little bit of ink on your pad and just lightly rub the postage stamp so that it looks like this. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you see how light that is? It's just to kind of dampen the brightness on that. I like to do that in this case just so it kind of blends a tiny bit more. Totally not necessary, but it's just one of the things that I like to do. Okay. So this is how it turned out. I will take some close-up pictures and post it at the end of the video so that you can see the close-up. If you have any questions about anything that you've seen, please write them in the comments and I will answer them. And I hope that you found this interesting and that it inspires you to create some of your own ATCs ×4. Thanks for watching.